Hello, everyone. Welcome to our show. This is Attorney Farakazi talking to you again Monday morning after the Super Bowl. And our topic is about the Super Bowl and your immigration options. So, what's the connection there? Let's talk about that in a minute. A second while we connect with TikTok as well. And find out how you guys are all doing. So, bienvenido a todos. Soy abogada de inmigración. Mi nombre es Farakazi. Estoy aquí para contestar todas sus preguntas acerca de inmigración y hablamos de algunos temas, algunos tópicos, dudas, preguntas que usted tiene sobre su caso, sobre inmigración en general. Hay muchas noticias, mucha información ahorita en medios sociales y el motivo de este show es para hablar directamente con una abogada, para saber que si alguna manera para ustedes sí. Y la buena cosa que yo tengo para usted ahorita es que nosotros tenemos muchísimas opciones y específico de arreglar leyes, porque yo sé que usted quiere saber si alguna manera para ustedes y para su familia, ¿sí? So, ahorita un momento, esperamos un poco para mi TikTok también. Hello, how are you guys? Okay, looks like we're live over here too. So let's talk. Let's talk about all things immigration. All right. So how many of you guys have watched the Super Bowl? What did you guys see? What did you do? Everything. Who are you rooting for? The reason why I talked about the Super Bowl and immigration options is because there's so many parallels. One of the reasons why, football kind of like transcends everything and people are all, they were showing this thing where people all around the world were watching American football yesterday, right? So they were showing clips from Ghana and from Ireland and from Colombia and from Mexico. And it got me thinking, I was like, why are so many people so interested in this sport in this particular day with Super Bowl? And I realized that it has so much to triumph, right? It has so much to do with hard work, and it has so much to do with like a dream being realized. You see these grown men and they get, they're crying. They're either crying in defeat or they're crying happy tears because they've won. Why is it such an emotionally charged night? And it got me thinking about the work that we do, but then particularly about my clients, because when we get your work paper, your work documents, your work permit, your travel permit, your green card, it's the same level of exhilaration and the same like heavily charged emotions and the same satisfaction that we get. And I know that sounds crazy because, of course, we're not doing it on a global stage in that same way. And there's not millions of people tuning in onto us as we're filing these papers or fighting for you in court. But that moment where your life is changed is pivotal. And I talk to clients years later and they're like, I know the exact moment when you called me or when you handed me my work permit or when you handed me my green card. That moment is etched in brain because I cannot forget the sense of relief and happiness and joy that I felt when I got those papers. So I'm telling all of this to you because I saw the Super Bowl, and I'm not normally a huge Super Bowl fan, but I have really been enjoying them lately in the last years especially, and I appreciate it now. I appreciate the hard work and I appreciate the celebration. I appreciate the triumph and I appreciate like all the inspirational stories that go along with it. And so I thought I would share that with you as well because it's the same thing in this field that we're in. I hear these stories from people and from clients who are beyond who have gone through so much trauma, so much heartache, so much unbelievable hurt and pain, and yet they're still standing before me and they're still ready to keep fighting, asking for just an opportunity for somebody to believe in them and advocate for them. And that is precisely why I became a lawyer. It's precisely why I'm here. And so I'm very, very happy to do so. So let's take some questions because I'm getting some questions right now. So, hola a todos, ¿cómo están? Muchísimas gracias por su tiempo. Si usted tiene alguna pregunta, alguna duda, alguna cosa, podemos hablar directamente conmigo ahorita. Escribe aquí y yo podría contestar sus preguntas. So, I have state ref. Can they deport you if you have deferred protection cap? All right, state ref. Right now, that is something kind of going back and forth. There's been a lot of discussion about that, and even among attorneys. And so I'll be honest with you about the reason is that technically speaking, deferred action is supposed to protect you from deportation. That is the point of it. The point is that you have not exactly a legal status. You're kind of in the middle, right? So there's the undocumented status, there's the legal status, and then in between you have deferred action. But that deferred action allows you to work here legally and to live here legally and to be protected from deportation. What's happening right now is that there are immigration officers and ICE officers who have not been properly trained in immigration law per se, and are just being told to pick up anyone and everyone, right? So what is potentially a possibility is that you could potentially get detained, but to be deported, there would have to be several different other steps and a burden of proof that would have to be laid out. And if you have defections, it's going to be very difficult for them to do so. So I strongly urge you that if that were to be the situation for you, that you contact an attorney who could fight for you on your behalf, because we have very, very strong arguments to keep you here if you have a deferred action in particular. Hello, everyone. Hello. Okay, let's see here. Jack, okay, if I have a criminal record but was granted U.S. citizenship, is it safe to travel internationally now? If you are a U.S. citizen, you should be able to. There's no restriction right now on U.S. citizens traveling. Where am I located? I am located in Chicago, but I have clients all over the country. And honestly, I do most of my consults, if not all, on some days, even all of them, by Zoom or by phone. But I have a ton of people that also come into our office too, just because they want to come in, and I'm happy to meet people and talk to them as well. So whatever works for you, we are able to help you with. Jake, USCIS knew about my criminal record prior to approval. I'm a dual citizen, so you've already gone through the vetting process. So I think you should be okay. But again, remember that not legal advice, because I would have to actually look at your case to determine for sure. So if you want a definitive answer and one that requires a little bit more investigation and review and a little bit more nuance, then give my office a call at 630-504-0648 so we can talk about that, okay? Jake, again, I think you should give me a call just to make sure, because I would like to review it just to make sure. It's very, very difficult for me to give you a definitive yes or no in this kind of a forum. Of course, this is not a confidential consult, and I don't see any of your paperwork, anything. But generally speaking, yes, U.S. citizens can travel. However, if you have a criminal record and you are concerned, please give me a call so that we can review that. Okay. Hello, Boca. Hello. Hola, ¿cómo están? María, ¿cómo está? Muchísimas gracias por su tiempo y también para sus palabras aquí. Okay, so usted tiene muchas opciones para escoger sus papeles, ¿sí? And there's a lot of different ways. So I'm going between Spanish and English, as you know. So there are a lot of different ways for you to fix your papers here in the United States. And we've talked about quite a few of them, but I'm going to review them with you. If you have an entry without inspection, which means an entry without a visa, and you have been here for X amount of years, and now you're looking for a way to fix your papers. There are ways for you to fix your papers here inside the country without having to leave and without having to go through the consulate process. One of the main ones that we talk about quite a bit is VAWA, but there's also a T visa and a U visa, something called a 245 exception. There's asylum, family-based petition. There's so many different options. So I'm going to tell you just like a brief little overview of how you could potentially qualify for those. Give me a second. I have a question. Han, how are you? I have questions about an I-130 application. I recently applied for my wife. Well, that's fantastic. How exciting for you. Give my office a call if you have specific questions about an application, okay? 630-504-0648. And then let's talk, and then we'll see what we can do about your application and things like that. So specifically speaking, for VAWA, for example, if you are married or separated or divorced in the last 2 years to a citizen or a lawful permanent resident, and you have suffered problems. I hesitate to say problems because problems can run the gamut, right? I mean, it can go all the way. A lot of times people are like, what do you mean by problems? Well, problems means you've had toxic issues. Your partner makes you feel less than, makes you feel inferior, doesn't want to help you with your papers, or holds that over your head that they have status and you don't. Perhaps you feel like you simply cannot advocate for yourself, or you don't have complete you don't have complete control or power in your relationship. If that is your case, then you have a wonderful way for you to be able to fix your papers, States, get a work permit, travel document, and your green card all within the United States. Okay, let's see. I have a couple other questions. Hi there, applying May 2021, still waiting for approval. Any advice? Which type of application did you apply for? Sharing, and generally speaking, that's probably okay. Honestly, a lot of applications take 3 to 4, maybe even 5 years, but I don't know what type of application you have. So, if you have questions about that, if you're wondering if it's outside the processing times, then of course give my office a call. And let's see, I have okay, so we talked about VAWA. One of the ways is if you're married, but the other way is if you are 21 year up child, and you also have similar problems with them. Like, for example, they don't want to help you with your papers, they're holding it over your head. Maybe there's like a loss of power and control in that situation, because now your child feels like maybe they have more power, they have more rights than you do because citizen, and that has created a lot of problems. Or you have you know even more dramatically, you have physical instances of altercations, or you have abuse, or you have alcohol abuse, or you have mistreatment of other siblings or yourself. If that is the case as well, you could potentially qualify for a VAWA, and you can get your work permit, your travel permit, and your green card. So I'm going to say this in Spanish because I see a couple of people here asking for Spanish. So, usted tiene opciones para arreglar sus papeles dentro del país si tuve entrada ilegal y también tuve algún delito o alguna historia, ¿sí? Por ejemplo, si estás casado o divorciado desde 2 años con un ciudadano residente, ellos no quieren ayudarle con sus papeles, o no quieren conseguir sus papeles, o tienen mucho poder en su relación, hay problemas, una falta de respeto, no tiene el mismo poder de otras zonas o algo cosa. Esas son maneras en que podría calificar por un programa como se llama VAWA, y también podría conseguir su permiso de trabajo, permiso de viaje y eventualmente su residencia. Hay muchas maneras más. Por ejemplo, si su hijo es más de 21 años y también tiene algunos problemas tóxicos en esta relación con ellos, también usted tiene la oportunidad de ganar su residencia y ganar sus papeles debajo de VAWA, y recuerde que es confidencial y no podría afectar a alguna persona, también es completamente privado, ¿ok? Si usted tiene algún miedo de empezar o no está seguro de esta opción, podría hablar con nosotros. Nosotros tenemos una evaluación completamente gratis y hay muchas maneras para ustedes. Ahorita es el mejor tiempo para aplicar porque tenemos una situación un poco peligroso y un clima muy delicado, y es más importante que usted recibir sus papeles. ¿Ok? La otra manera es si sufre algunos maltratos en la frontera con los coyotes, o tuve algunos en alguna relación romántico, por ejemplo, o cuando usted cruza en la frontera con los coyotes, ellos te obligaron a trabajar. Si usted sufre de esta manera, usted podría calificar por la visa T y también puede recibir su permiso de trabajo y eventualmente residencia. So, hay muchas maneras para ustedes. Hablamos otra vez y llámame a 630-504-0648. Estamos aquí cada día específico para usted. Okay, so we have a couple other questions. And we have a comment here, which I am actually going to address. Marcos has a cartoon figure, and he wrote, "They broke the law, ma'am." I'm assuming that he's talking about immigrants, and he's talking about my clients. So I'm going to address that because I think that it's tremendously important that when you make statements like that, you actually understand what immigration law is. For example, applying for asylum, applying for relief under VAWA or a T visa or a U visa because you were the survivor, not the victim, but a survivor of severe trauma or mistreatment or abuse or domestic violence or violence at the hands of a trafficker, for example, and now you are looking for a way to escape, that is not illegal. There is no breaking of the law there. And I think there seems to be a lot of confusion, and it's kind of like a concerted effort to remain ignorant, despite the fact that there is a lot of evidence and a lot of information out there for you to actually become well informed about what immigration law is. But there's a concerted, very deliberate effort to stay ignorant and to make it very easy to say, oh, well, they broke the law, so we're not going to talk about that. You know how easy it is to make somebody the other, and then to dehumanize that person and not to have the same compassion or empathy for those people because you've labeled them as something else. You know who else did that? We did that during enslavement. We've done that to the Native Americans. We've consistently done it to every single disenfranchised and oppressed group of people, including women and including children, and including children that are being, terrorized in school shootings and all sorts of other things. You know how easy it is for us to label somebody as, oh, they're just illegal. Oh, they broke the law. The better part and the more interesting part and the more, humane way to do this would be for you to do your research. Actually look at what immigration law is. Actually look at what asylum actually means. Look at what trafficking is. And then come back to me and talk to me about breaking the law. Because what we're talking about are legal solutions to papers based on legal remedies and human rights violations that have occurred in your past. Okay? Alex, tengo licencia condicional por 2 años, pero estoy a punto del divorcio y falta 1 año para la perma. Alex, usted se podría calificar por una excepción, pero necesita que aplicar inmediatamente. So, por favor, llámenos a 630-504-0064 si necesita alguna ayuda con eso, o hable con su abogado si usted tiene un abogado para aplicar para esas excepciones. Otra pregunta. Hola, Juárez. Hola a todos. ¿Cómo están? Okay, si no tiene alguna pregunta, llámanos. And again, if you don't have any other additional questions, just give us a call, 630-504-0648. I am here particularly for this purpose, so I am happy to help you. One more question from Jennifer Lopez. How excited. ¿Cuánto se tarda para que ustedes mande un receipt number? Usualmente 1 mes o 2 meses. Alex, pero si existe la opción, entonces aunque me divorcie, sí, hay una opción para usted. Es posible, hay 2 opciones. Reba, how long does it take to receipt when you file VAWA? Generally speaking, we wait from 1 to 2 months. If you're waiting longer than that, then absolutely give us a call or give your attorney a call, whoever filed your paperwork. You could also call USCIS, and you can also do an inquiry. Okay? All right. Adiós todos y muchísimas gracias por todo su tiempo. And thank you so much for everybody. And, I hope whoever you were rooting for, if you were rooting for the Eagles, congratulations on your Super Bowl win. If you were rooting for the Chiefs, I am sorry. However, they've had a really, really great streak this entire season. So, all right. Talk to you guys again.